Well, this morning I'm joined by an old friend of mine, Matt Plested, who's the course manager at Stoneham Golf Club. And it's fair to say, well, I was going to say, Matt, that you're one of the best young course managers in the country. But when do you stop being young? I've known you for
A
such a
long
long
time.
time.
I don't feel young anymore.
No, I think that's the case for a great many of us. But good to see you again, and you're looking well. How's it been? Obviously, golf is you. I'm in Scotland. You're in England, south of England. Golf course is down near Southampton. You've come out of it slightly earlier than the rest of it. How was it? How has coming out of lockdown been for you guys at Stoneham?
The 48 hours that we got from Boris was not what I wanted, if I'm being honest. We done the essential maintenance on the golf course. We had the team on furlough, but funny enough, we had a board meeting the week before. And we decided we were going to bring everyone back from furlough, which not a lot of clubs were able to do. And we knew we were lucky, but we thought golf was going. We had a vision that golf was going to open probably the beginning to middle of June. So we thought, right, if we get everyone back, it gives us some time to get on top of the place. And then we had 48 hours notice to get open, and making sure that there was procedures in place was actually quite a big thing on the club's front, to make sure they're checking in and player safety and staff safety was priority. So
What had been happening? What had been happening prior to that, Matt? Had you just had essential maintenance? Were you and a couple of guys in just keeping the grass down?
Well, funny enough, my chairman rang me and he said, "How many staff do you think you need to run the course through this period?" And I said, "Well, ideally, I think 4 would give me out. We're a team of 9. I thought 4 of us would be able to cope." And he said, "Look, I've done this before, but not in this situation. But with redundancies and things like that." He said, "Let's go for 6 staff. Keep 3 on furlough, and then what we'll do with the 6 staff is we'll use 4 of them on the basis that we understand we're probably going to lose 1 for sickness or 1 holidays. We didn't know how long it was going to be for. So I actually had a very core, good-sized team actually that we could rotate around." Mm-hmm. And when we worked, we worked staggered hours, obviously, and we started at different times, finished at different times. We were coming in about 8 o'clock. It was lovely getting up. At the time, I didn't really appreciate it. I think I was more worried about the whole situation. But, I was able to talk to my wife at 10 o'clock at night, and she was like, "What's happened here?" Normally I'm asleep. We were doing sort of 8 till 1, 8 till 12. And then you might work one day and another team would work the next day, and then you'd work an alternate day again. Mm. And we just played it by ear, really. And we just saw what needed to be done. And then if we didn't need people in, we didn't bring them in.
Now, I know you're saying you didn't have much notice, but what sort of procedures were you putting in? What did you do, for example, for the flag sticks, that type of thing?
The flag sticks, because it was such a short notice, I ended up turning the flags, the cups upside down, just so I could get people out there to play. There's no benches still on the golf course, bins, ball washers, same as everyone else. They're all gone, rakes. I've learned some quite interesting things through lockdown, actually. Members can take their rubbish home. Pitch marks aren't always made by visitors because we've not had any. The members don't need to hole out everything. They can have fun. They can get round in 3 hours. All the things that golf said that they couldn't do, they've managed to do. The old boys don't need benches to sit on every 2 holes. And more importantly, they know how to clean their balls now. Pardon the pun.
Yeah. Do you think some of these things will remain when we are totally back to whatever we're going to call normal?
I mean, we've had less comments about bunkers than ever. We've invested heavily in the bunkers lately, but you're always going to get a moan because everyone thinks they should be perfect, and they're not. They're a hazard. If I'm being honest, as much as I would like to say I think we should see some changes, I think people will ask them back and slowly they'll get more introduced again. Maybe we wouldn't need so many bins. Maybe we wouldn't need so many ball washers. Rakes, I think, will go back in bunkers. There's the thing in competitions. I know you've got preferred lies at the moment, but a lot of people are saying it's not fair. If the greenkeepers are tracking them in the morning and they're flat, so the first group to get that, and then by the end of the day, you're landing in a bunker that hasn't been repaired by your fellow members. It's still unfair on them. So I can, as much as I would like things to change that way, I think slowly things will get more introduced again, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
What we've added now.
What
Sorry,
about for you
Scott.
and your team? I'm sorry. What about for you and your team, Matt? Are you ensuring that for their health and safety, are they getting one machine to use all day, or how are you working that?
We spray down everything. So all of our machines get sprayed down in between. They get sprayed down in the morning. When the operator's finished with it, he sprays it down afterwards, wipes it all down, cleans it off. Um, I'm trying to keep the job rotation going. I think that's a really important part of it for the team. Otherwise, you get bored doing the same jobs all the time. So don't get me wrong, there's guys that are better than other things, but we're trying to get everyone on the same level. So I think it's just important that, as long as they're washing their hands, that we're still on staggered times, still in separate pods, as we call them. So they're in teams of 3. We're trying to keep them separated. And I think actually going forward, we're not going to change that. I had a discussion with the board this week, and I'm not willing to change that yet. We means that we might not have things done ahead of all the golf, but staff safety is important. And also, if this thing comes back again and we get a second wave and we're looking at autumn, I don't want the whole team to go down. As a business, we couldn't afford that. We need to minimise the impact. So if that one person got ill, when they could all go off, it still leaves 6 staff. So.
Now, I know Stoneham is a high-quality golf club. You're doing great in the Golf World rankings, and that 2020 was going to be a significant year. You're going to have a big investment program. You might still have a big investment program. I don't know, but how has that panned out at the golf club? Has things been put on hold, or have you had an opportunity to keep things moving along a little bit?
Two sides to that, actually. So the first side will be the general, normal, day-to-day business. So the business, like a lot of clubs, with cash flow has been saved, keep cash in the bank. That's been the aim of the club since it's happened. I think the club responded fantastically. The cleaning companies were stood down but were paid. All the clubhouse staff and anyone was put on furlough were all still paid 100% from the business, which I thought was really good of them. Things like Sky TV were taken out straight away. Anything we could to get the cost down instantly were done. I've been told that spend only on essentials. So, I'm being really careful. We cancelled our machinery deal that was on the table for about £100,000 worth of kit. That's gone at the moment. It's about trying to make up that deficit that we lost from that. On a separate side to that, we've got the driving range project, which is running, which a lot of clubs, we're lucky to have that going on. And we've got a landfill going on that at the moment. We've had 18,500 lorries come in to the site so far. We've got 5,000 more to complete. So during lockdown, we had a letter from the Secretary of State saying that the project had to continue, because a lot of the fill that's coming out is coming out of motorway extensions and things like that, or new housing developments, which the government are backing, and they needed to put it somewhere. So we had to stay open, which meant we had to have guys on the gates taking tickets. We had to have security teams checking the tickets when they come in on the cameras to make sure that it is right. We had a team of guys down there still working in dumpers and dozers. I was still having to manage that and our team as well, and make sure that everyone's following the correct procedures. So we were very lucky, Scott, in the fact that we have money coming in still from that side of things. So the pressure of the business is one side, and then we were lucky to have that money coming in. Don't get me wrong, they're not going to let me just take the money from that and use it to cover the business losses. That's not how it's going to work. I have to think sensibly, and we need to try and get the business to balance the books. I think it would be silly of us to look at cutting costs too hard in certain areas, especially labour. We need the labour, but we can make savings in other areas.
What's the likely time scale for the new driving range now? Is it this year still, or is it?
So the project was due to finish this year, which it will. I think we're a bit slower than we planned. So I think we'll be ready to proceed in by November, and I think we're opening spring 21. I think, if I'm being honest, probably about June. The short game area, we weren't really going to open that this year, but it was a great PR stunt for the members. It was ready, and we kind of said, well, why aren't we opening it just now so the members can get something else back for them as a member benefit, because they've missed out on all this golf so far. And what we'll do is we'll relaunch that all as one big thing when we do the driving range opening.
Well, it does seem to give the members something to look forward to, which is great, because obviously member retention's an issue across the country, because everybody's thinking, well, hang on, how many games have I played? But member loyalty, I think, is a big thing, and hopefully that keeps clubs going. Now, we've mentioned the fact it's a great traditional golf club. Willie Park Jr. of Sunningdale fame designed it, but it's a balancing act when you get golf clubs like that, because you've got to retain what they are, but you've also got to make them relevant for the modern game. Now, I know you've had input from the two Kens, Moody and Brown, and John Nicholson, the arboriculturalist. How do you manage to marry things? How do you make sure you get policies through and make changes to make a golf course relevant for the 21st century, but still retaining?
We've been very lucky. We've had Ken Brown and Ken Moody were involved in the master plan, and at the time when I came in, Murray Long was brought in as a consultant as well, and they asked me, would you be willing to work with a consultant? And I'd never worked with a consultant before, and to be honest, I jumped at the chance, because if you see the work that they'd done at Sunningdale, was unbelievable, and for me to get the chance to learn from that. So what with Murray's expertise there and Ken's placement, we were able to get a blend of what was the old and the new together. So with the right yardages, but making the bunkers look like they're old. And, even tricks like we changed the revet lines completely. Most people go with a standard 3 revets. We were changing the revet lines from sort of 2, 3, 5, back down to 2. And it aged the bunker. It looked like it had slid in places, or it folded, and it looked like they'd been there forever. One of the other things that was really good is one of the members turned up, and she turned up with the original handbook when the course opened, and had all the sand lines in there and photos of the old bunkers. And we copied a lot of them. We were basically showing them to the shaper and saying, make us that there, and we knew where the placement was. Ken had done a great job of that, and we were able to do that and make them, age them straight away. And once we'd done the first phase, the members' confidence in us was, go carry on. To get the investment from the club, I think the club were desperate to invest. I think there'd been such a lack of investment for years. I think the members were crying out for it. They had money in the bank. We had a very good chairman come in who was very passionate and wanted to drive things forward. And he's helped me push the club, more and more and more. And, it's essential to have the right people above you, to help you and speak to them and show them and take them to places. I recently took him to Royston Ports to meet Mr. Bledge and look at his new irrigation system, so they could see the difference that upgrading the irrigation system does make to your golf course, because that's going to be our next investment as a club. It's really important to get these people involved and let them taste it, and then say, you can have this.
Now, you did have a very good job in London. What was it that attracted you to you probably the answer to the question, but what was it attracted you to Stoneham as a job opportunity for yourself?
I'd always wanted Stoneham, and I think I made no secret of that. I think people in the industry probably knew that, and I didn't think it would come up as quick as it did.
Why was that, Matt?
Well, Vince moved on, and at the time, it kind of came up, and I was a bit surprised at the timing that it came up. But I actually didn't see the job advert. My wife did, and I had an agreement with her that if it ever came up, that I'd apply for it. And she sent me a WhatsApp picture of it in the magazine, and said the job's up. So I came down for it. So I grew up around here, and I played junior golf here. And I always thought that it was an amazing golf course, and I'd love to get my hands on it, and what we could do with it would be. I just felt it could be pushed on if it had investment. And when I came for the interviews, and they said, we want to invest in this, and I was really excited, and it meant we can move home. We moved home. I moved to London when I was 19, and I went to Hendon Golf Club at the time, and to be the first assistant there with Gavin Kyle, and. I only went up there for a couple of years. I thought it would be great fun to live in London, go out for a few beers, there's some great bars, it'd be fantastic. And 15 years later, with 2 children, I suddenly thought, okay, this is a great opportunity to go home, golf course that's in the top 100 that wants to invest, and I get my family back, and they get their grandparents. It was too good an opportunity. And now I've gone from travelling to work on the North Circular every day to sitting by the beach in the evenings. Driving back on the beach, and you wouldn't swap it.
Yeah, you what though? It's a pressurised job interview when you wanted it as badly as you obviously did. That's some interview process to go through.
Well, yeah, they did make us go through quite a process as well. Everyone that applied, there was probably about 4 or 5 rounds. It was including an interview with the board, a presentation to the board, an interview with the consultant and the management team, and then an STRI agronomy test on the golf course. So there was quite a lot involved in it, but I knew I wanted it, and it was interesting. The stuff they were asking for in the interview was a lot of stuff that I'd done at Muswell Hill. I'd worked with creative golf design, I'd done drainage, I'd done a bunker program, we'd done with the management. They were transferable skills. It
was meant to be.
Well, fate.
What do you just looking? I mean, none of us have a crystal ball, and maybe just as well we don't in many cases. But what are your thoughts looking forward? Are you positive about not just the job you've got there, but golf as a game? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think since the coronavirus issues, I was worried. I was really worried about how golf was going to survive it, and I know there's clubs that are really worried, but we found that the moment we said it's members only playing, the amount of people joining the club went through the roof. And it's not just a trend for us, it's a trend of a lot more people are playing golf because you can't play cricket this season, you're not playing rugby at the moment. Golf's one of the only sports that you can do, and quite safely. And I think people are getting the bug back, and actually they're getting their clubs out of the garage that have been in there for 10 years and going, I'm going to go and play golf again. Yeah. And I think it's great for the public courses, anyone, because it feeds golf back into the industry. And we've closed our books. I mean, we've never, since I've been here in 5 years, we've never closed our books, and we've closed the books and we've got a waiting list now. And, now it's the discussion of where do we move next as a business? What's our next tactic? But I think it'd be interesting to see how many people will stay on. I think that's the big thing, is how we make it a membership that's of value to them, so that they don't leave. There's no point in joining for 1 year or 2 years. We want to keep these members for a long time. So we've got to keep showing them we're giving them some value back to their membership.
Well, it's interesting times ahead, and you're right. I think golf has got an awful lot to offer, and hopefully we're in a better position. Some golf clubs will go by the way, which is unfortunate, but the good ones will always survive. It's been great to catch up with you again, and Matt. I mean, I'll leave it as long next time, and I'd love to get down to see you on site and do an article down with you, the exciting work that's going on at Stoneham at the moment. And
it'd be great.
Thanks very much for your time. Great.
Thank you, Scott. Cheers.